Pain tolerance. The sound coming from the speaker in the center of the table had all four of the men looking sidelong at each other, their faces gone from jovial to stern. Dr. Amon extended his arm across the table, his white lab coat sleeve trailing slowly behind his hand until it met his elbow and clumped as he placed his fingers on the speaker's volume nozzle, turning it off. Dr. Lester looked to his left, the look on his face acknowledging the elephant in the room. He folded his arms across his chest as he spoke, his wizened voice soured by the implications of these findings. Is the continuation of this research viable? Dr. Amon leaned back, his chair creaking from the years of abuse. If this is accepted by the public, then no. The table shook and the speaker fell over. Dr. Oligard slammed his fist down. The only obstacle to success is the outside perspective. The last time science bent the knee, we had a monarchy. His voice firm and assertive. The project would continue in light of these findings. Payment for knowledge is never what it appears. Pain centers of the brain. One of the last bastions of unknown depth. But the map was becoming clearer. The more experiments that took place, the more refined it became. What was once a blob of messy dots was now an intricate network of response sequences. Dr. Amon began the test. The sharp, stinging sound of the blade pressed against him. With the plugs in his ears, all he could hear was the wailing. It did not match the assumed sound of a saw, more outspoken, feral, and indeterminably infrequent. He would have preferred the tinnitus to this. His heart would not feel so heavy over the drone of an engine. But this savage nature had him at odds. Several limbs fell to the ground. The scent of lightly burned maple trickled through his nostrils, sending a shiver down his spine, so sweet and succulent, opposing the scene before him. Red and yellow shone stark against the pale concrete floor. He doesn't care because he doesn't have to be there, Dr. Lester spouted as he removed the plugs from his ear. He sat down at his desk and reached onto the top drawer. You saw him yesterday, though. He was moved, so that's a step in the right direction, Dr. Amon stated as he sat down beside Lester at the desk. Does believing this, but continuing to do it, damn us? He placed his lunchbox on the desk and opened it, the sandwich unappetizing in this circumstance. We have lines for a reason. I know it's fair for them to move. Instinct calls when you're pressed in a corner. The true face is revealed to you, even though you despise it. If knowledge is all that was needed to move a line of that degree, such a magnitude, I believe we would be living in a paradise. Leave that question to when we research the soul. A smile crept across Dr. Aaron's face. Hope for the future. That was what they were fighting for. That was why they were suspending their morals in experiments with such ghoulish and tragic methods. Sweat rolled down Dr. Lester's face despite the heat of the flames being no match for the cooling suit. The smell hit him through the suit, however, stale, dark, crisp, undone. The ashes of this creation were mere specks now, uttered to the wind by the tempest of plasma, the silence a grand reminder of the deed. The data had been collected. With a stricken heart, the sweat dripped down his cheek, a tear he could not shed, as he knelt down to gather the devices from the remains. A shudder in his heart as he stopped suddenly. The tear streaks across the plastic mask of his suit, a visual reminder of the loss incurred. A speck of color among the dust, gently pressing his hand beneath it, careful to not disturb its rest, he lifted it from the broken body. He would keep this lone treasure, a survivor of oblivion, the red and yellow a bastion against the night, an uplifting tale of redemption and desire. This single bereft leaf, embedded with the hopes of the future, would cling to existence.